What is going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be running you through my honest opinion about protein powders and about whether I believe that you should be taking these if you want to build a great physique. Now, there's a lot of information regarding these days, especially in the last 12 months. I believe that a lot of people have been slating protein powder. It's actually being seen now as something that we shouldn't be taking because apparently, people are saying it's very processed, it's made in a lab, which of course it is. So people are now saying not to be taking these. But when I was growing up, everyone was banging on about protein powders, everyone was taking them, everyone was wanting to take them. You had all the Maxi Muscle kind of models and stuff going around, and everyone was saying that you should be taking protein takes to be able to build a good physique. So hopefully today I'm going to clear up exactly whether you do need to be taking this, whether you should be, whether I do, and just display a little bit of the myths and stuff around it as well. So firstly, just to be completely honest with you guys, to tell you, you do not need to be taking protein shakes to get in shape. Absolutely not. These are not a magical powder. These do not have anything in them that, normal food doesn't have, that you're not gonna be able to generate from just having a normal diet. Absolutely not. Now, you can build an amazing physique, you can get an amazing shape without touching any supplements at all, because that is essentially all supplements are. They are supplementing a good diet. So if you can hit your protein intake, which is typically, let's say, 1 gram protein per pound of your body weight, and you can hit all of that through eating good quality whole foods, amazing. That is, you don't need to be taking this if you can already do that. If you're a 180 pound guy and you can get 180 grams of protein every day through eggs, through chicken, through turkey mince, through beef mince, through steak, through whatever, from Greek yogurt, if you can do that already and you don't need to be taking protein shakes, do not buy this. You don't need to buy this, okay? You don't need to take this if you can already do that. But I am talking to most people, and I believe that most people, after working with a lot of guys up to this point, is that most guys cannot hit their protein intake consistently through normal foods. Okay, most guys can't. It's often, sometimes it's down to laziness, it's down to not preparing in time, it's down to discipline, it's down to just not wanting to eat loads of meat or loads of whole foods all the time, and actually just wanting a little bit of variation. And that is exactly where these can come in handy. You don't need them, but they can be useful. They can make your life easier and they can be very convenient. And that is essentially how I use protein powder. I don't use protein powder every day. I use it most days. But some days, if I'm out and I'm eating more whole foods, I don't come back and think, damn, I need to have a protein shake. Or I've just finished my gym session and think, damn, I need to get a protein shake down me. I don't even remember the last time that I did a gym session and had a protein shake. I don't really take protein after I train, okay? What I do for protein powder is I use it just to make my life more convenient. And I also just use it to make my diet more enjoyable, okay? I like to have foods within my diet that I use protein powder to actually enhance the flavor of those foods. I'll give you an example. At the moment, I use about 1.5 scoops of this per day. Okay, this is Perform Whey. It's probably the nicest tasting whey protein you can get. I wouldn't say it's the absolute best quality whey protein, but it tastes very good. And I'm, to be honest, at the moment, enjoying having this. I'm back in the UK. I can't get this when I'm in Thailand. I can't get this when I'm in Dubai. So when I get back in the UK, I always like to have a tub of Perform because I really enjoy it. Yeah, enjoyment, as you know, as you should know, is the most important thing when it comes to a diet. You have to enjoy it. Otherwise you're not going to stick to it. You're not going to stay consistent and you're not going to get results. So you should have that as the number one most important thing when it comes to your nutrition. Anyway, I have 1.5 scoops of this right now, but I don't just have this when I leave the gym. I don't just have a random protein shake in the day. I use this to actually improve the flavor of other foods. So right now what I'm having in the mornings or sometimes post-workout, depends on whether I'm running in the morning, whether I train later in the day, is I will have a big scoop of this in porridge oats. So I'll have protein porridge, as some people call it. And this makes protein oats taste amazing, okay? This is s'mores flavor. As I say, probably one of the nicest protein powders you can get in terms of taste. And it just makes that bowl of oats taste incredible. And I look forward to it and I enjoy it. And it means that protein oats have now got a ton of protein in them, because if I was to just have oats on their own, that is not a protein source. It's not a complete protein. I'm not gonna be able to hit the 30, 40 grams I need in that meal. So if I have, 30 to 40 grams of this, that's gonna help me get that protein intake right up. Along with milk and oats, which has a little bit of protein in it as well, it's gonna help me get to that nice 30, 40 gram mark, which is what I need. So that's how I look at using this. I use this as a way to actually improve the taste of different foods, and I use it as a way of it's being very convenient as well. Otherwise, I'd have to have, let's say, a bowl of oats and like cook up a chicken breast or something as well, or some yogurt or some eggs on the side. It just gets a little bit messy, whereas like a really quick, and again, for me, speed is important, really quick, convenient meal that I can have would be having this within my oats, so it just works really well. And then the other time I have this is in the evening. So in the evening, again, often I'm busy in the evening. I'm on calls, I'm doing things, I haven't got time to be preparing loads of foods, and I often need a bit of a bump of protein before I go to bed. So what I tend to do is I'll have my Greek yogurt, 200 to 300 grams of Greek yogurt, but there's just not always quite enough protein in that. That might give me, say, 20 grams, 25 grams, but it just doesn't quite hit me to the place that I want to be, right? So I would use another half a scoop of this, that not only helps the Greek yogurt taste so much nicer, because of course, like s'mores in your Greek yogurt tastes insane, but also it just gives me another bump of like 10 to 15 grams of protein, which is great. So for me in my diet, I am using this as a way to improve my diet, to make it more convenient, to make it taste better, to be able to enjoy it more. I don't sit there and like have a protein shake after a workout because I feel like I need to for my gains, post anabolic window. It doesn't work like that. You don't need to do that. I don't literally like on my way out from the gym think, shit, I need to get my protein shake down me right now. This is what I used to think. This is what I used to do every time I trained. I was like, damn, I need a protein shake. My muscles are wasting away. That is not how it works. This is not a magic powder. You don't need to take this the second that your gym session finishes. If anything, you should be taking this the second that your gym session finishes. Because what happens is that when we train, our body gets in a highly stressed state, okay? And then it takes a little bit of time for our body to come down again. And actually when we take something on, when we're in that highly kind of stress state, which is like what our body gets into when we train, that fight or flight mode, your body doesn't absorb nutrients very well. So you should actually, if you are gonna have this post-workout, you should wait 30 minutes at least before having something, which typically works well for me when I get my oats, when I get home from the gym, and I have that straight away. So, I have it within my oats. So that's essentially what I would do, and that's what I would recommend. It's not that I need to have this, but I enjoy having it and it works well for me. And this is the same that I believe for pretty much most guys, okay? As I say, it's hard, I believe, for most guys to be able to hit their protein intake and be consistent in getting that in through just their diet alone, okay? And as I say, like I said at the start of this video, you can already do that. You don't need to be having protein shakes. I'm gonna say that 80 to 90% of people struggle with that, which is why it's great to have this on board, to just be able to kind of top things up a lot. Because trust me, the trade-off of you not getting your protein intake hit consistently because you don't wanna have something that's technically processed or isn't quite as good quality as whole food, but you miss your protein intake every day, it's not worth it. You're not gonna build a good physique if you're always under eating on protein. Protein is the most important macronutrient when it comes to building muscle, building lean mass, and retaining lean mass. And if you cannot get your protein intake hit because you're not willing to have a protein shake because Eddie Abu has said it's processed and you should be having whole foods, good luck building a good physique. It's not gonna happen. So you need to be consistent, you need to be clever about this. You need to be realistic to your lifestyle right now. If you are struggling because you don't like eating a ton of meat, you don't like eating loads of eggs, and you prefer an easier way to get your protein intake hit, I would highly suggest you get whey protein and use it and experiment with it, okay? You need to understand, take a protein shake, buy it and see how does your body react? Do you get a problem with your gut? Do you notice that you get bloated? Do you get gas? These are common signs that our body is having an issue with the digestion of something. If you get that and you see this as a really common response, that probably does mean your body's not reacting too well to this. Now, obviously, that might mean you have a slight dairy intolerance, possibly a lot of people do, or it's just the type of protein potentially that you're taking. Now, like I say, this isn't the best quality of protein. This is actually more whey concentrate than whey isolate. I would normally go the other way around. I would normally go whey isolate. It's like the number one ingredient. But, again, I don't seem to tolerate this too badly. I wouldn't say it digests amazingly well, but I don't seem to get too bloated. It's not too much of an issue. But if I was seeing that I was doing that, I probably wouldn't be taking this. And I don't take this all the time anyway, because like I said, I can't get it when I'm in places like Dubai and Thailand and stuff anyway. But that's the thing that you need to experiment. If you're taking a protein powder and you maybe do feel like it's a little bit off with your gut, possibly next time you buy a protein powder, experiment with something else. Go for one that does seem like it's a bit of a better quality, one that's more whey protein isolate rather than whey concentrate. They're a little bit more expensive, they don't always taste as good, but to be honest, like that's not really the most important thing for sure, that you want to be making sure it actually is digesting well. And in general, if you are maybe lactose intolerant or potentially, you just seem to don't tolerate dairy that well, I would actually recommend you look at getting a vegan protein, okay? There's a lot of very good quality plant-based proteins that I've taken in the past. I had one in Thailand. They actually taste really good. And again, because they're not dairy-based, very little irritation to gut health or digestion, which again is great. And they're also very high in protein as well. So you can still be able to get the benefit from having a dairy-based protein too. So anyway, just to kind of summarize this video, you don't need protein shakes to get in shape. This is not a magic powder. You don't need to be taking this the second you leave the gym. If anything, I probably wouldn't be taking this as a shake that often, because I don't think that having liquid calories is that great, whether you're looking to get in shape or stay in shape. I think you should be consuming most of the calories you eat from the food. That's what I do. So essentially, you don't need to be taking this. However, for most of you I'm speaking to right now, you're probably inconsistent with your protein intake. You probably don't feel like you can get that 1 gram per pound of your body weight hit consistently. You probably, tried a lot and have failed potentially. So it just makes sense to just get 30 to 40 grams every day, very simply, very easily from consuming and having something like this on board, which you can keep in your cupboard, you can keep in your house. Some days you might need it, some days you might not, depending on what you're doing, but you can always have this as a backup and an easy way to get in more protein. Having this is not going to cause a huge issue with your insides. It's not a problem. You need to stay away from a lot of that misinformation or that extreme information that's pushed out on Instagram about how bad this sort of stuff is. It's not that bad. I've been taking protein shakes for way over 10 years now, and I'm telling you now, I've not had any issues. I've stayed in shape, I've stayed consistent, and they've not caused me massive problems like some people seem to make out that they do. So anyway, guys, I hope you found this video super useful. As always, make sure you smash the like button, make sure you hit subscribe for future videos, and I'm gonna catch you in the next one.